Most people live their entire lives without ever discovering what they're truly capable of. Not because they lack potential, but because they never test it. They settle. They compromise. They accept a smaller version of themselves because it feels safer than pushing into the unknown. But not you. Not today. Because the moment you start questioning how far you can really go, your life begins to change. Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. Success has very little to do with talent. It's not about luck. It's not about connections, background, or timing. Those things matter far less than people think. What actually separates people is discipline. The discipline to act when motivation is gone. The discipline to keep going when nobody is watching. The discipline to push yourself when comfort is begging you to stop. That is the skill that changes everything. I've spent years studying people who have achieved real success, not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, and personally. And one pattern shows up every single time. Every person who achieved something meaningful had to push themselves beyond what felt comfortable. They took action before they felt ready. They moved forward while fear was still present. They kept going when quitting would have been easier. The difference isn't that successful people don't feel fear or doubt. They do. The difference is they don't let those feelings make decisions for them. They understand a simple truth. Growth and comfort cannot exist at the same time. If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do things you've never done. Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you're making choices. You're choosing to push yourself, or you're choosing to stay comfortable. You're choosing effort, or you're choosing ease. You're choosing growth, or you're choosing stagnation. No one makes these choices for you, and no one can escape the consequences of them either. Your life will always reflect what you choose consistently. Not once, not occasionally, but day after day. Choose the easy path consistently, and life becomes heavy. Choose the difficult path consistently, and life becomes lighter. That's one of life's great paradoxes. Now, let me be clear about something. When I say push yourself, I'm not talking about burning out. I'm not talking about ignoring your health or sacrificing everything that matters. I'm talking about mental discipline. The discipline to do what you know needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Inside every one of us, there are two voices. One voice encourages growth. It says, you can handle this. You'll figure it out. Move forward. The other voice protects comfort. It says, not now. It's too hard. Wait until you feel ready. Both voices sound convincing, but only one leads somewhere. The voice you listen to becomes stronger. The voice you obey shapes your future. People who succeed aren't special. They just learn how to feed the right voice consistently. They act before motivation shows up. They understand that motivation follows action, not the other way around. Here's a truth you need to internalize. You have more ability than you're currently using. More strength, more intelligence, more courage, more resilience. The question is not whether you have potential. The question is whether you're willing to push yourself far enough to discover it. Most people never do. They accept invisible limits. They convince themselves they're average. They tell themselves success is for other people. But look closely at the most successful person you know. They didn't push themselves once. They pushed themselves repeatedly, consistently. Consistency is what turns effort into mastery. Occasional intensity changes nothing. Daily discipline changes everything. Transformation doesn't come from knowing what to do. It comes from doing what you already know. Think about your life honestly. There are areas where you know you could be doing better. Your health, your career, your relationships, your personal growth. The problem isn't lack of information. You already know what to do. The problem is the gap between knowing and doing. That gap is uncomfortable. That gap is where resistance lives. That gap is where your future is waiting. Most people avoid that gap. They distract themselves. They stay busy. They tell themselves tomorrow will be different. But nothing changes until you push yourself into action. Your biggest enemy is not circumstances. It's not the economy. It's not your past. Your biggest enemy is comfort. Comfort feels safe, but it slowly erodes your potential. It's where dreams are postponed. It's where growth gets delayed. It's where mediocrity feels acceptable. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Comfort zones aren't comfortable. They're familiar. There's a difference. When you live below your potential, something inside you knows it. A quiet dissatisfaction follows you. A voice whispers, "You were meant for more." That voice isn't your enemy. It's your guide. Most people try to silence it. They numb it. They ignore it. But what if you listened instead? What if you followed where it was pointing? Your life would begin to change faster than you expect. Every time you push yourself, you expand what feels possible. Each small act of courage builds capacity. Ordinary people don't become extraordinary overnight. They become extraordinary through repeated small pushes. Not through inspiration alone, through persistence. Ask yourself this. Where would you be 1 year from now if you started pushing yourself today? And where will you be if you don't? Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. Waiting doesn't build lives. Action does. Now understand this. Pushing yourself doesn't mean doing more of everything. It means doing more of what matters and less of what doesn't. It's learning the difference between movement and progress, between being busy and being effective, between activity and achievement. Sometimes pushing yourself means saying no. Saying no to distractions. Saying no to comfort. Saying no to short-term pleasure so you can say yes to long-term growth. Ask yourself honestly, what are you doing right now that you know you should stop doing? And what are you avoiding that you know you should start? Those answers show you exactly where growth lives. Most people fail not because they don't know what to do, but because they refuse to do what they know consistently. Here's one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn. You don't have to feel ready to act. You don't have to feel motivated to begin. You don't have to feel confident to move forward. You just have to start. Some of the most important actions in your life will happen when you don't feel like taking them. And if you wait for motivation, you'll wait forever. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates motivation. Think back to the most productive period of your life. You were pushing yourself. You were uncomfortable. You were growing. Now think about periods where nothing changed. You were coasting, avoiding challenge, staying safe. That's not coincidence. That's cause and effect. Pushing yourself is not an event. It's a lifestyle. It's a daily commitment to becoming more than you were yesterday. Some days it's easy. Some days it's hard. The hard days matter most. Those days shape character. Those days separate people who make progress from people who make excuses. You don't need perfection. You need progression. Improve slightly every day. Push a little further each week. The compound effect will do the rest. Most people want massive change without consistent effort. They want results without discipline. That's not how growth works. Success is built, not gifted. Excellence is practiced, not wished for. Greatness is earned through effort. Failure will happen, and that's not a problem. Failure is part of the process. The real danger is never pushing yourself enough to fail at all. Failure teaches. Failure strengthens. Failure reveals what works and what doesn't. But if you never push yourself, you never learn. You stay safe, but small. Ask yourself this question honestly. Would you rather risk failure while pursuing something meaningful, or guarantee regret by playing it safe? Regret lasts longer than discomfort. At the end of your life, you won't regret the times you tried. You'll regret the times you didn't. So here's the challenge. Push yourself. Not once. Not occasionally. Daily. Do one thing each day that challenges you. One action that moves you forward. One decision that aligns with who you want to become. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for confidence. The time is now. You don't need to see the entire path. You just need to take the next step. Every expert started as a beginner. Every champion was once someone who refused to quit. Every success story began with a decision to push beyond limits. You have the same potential. You have the same opportunity. The only question is whether you will push yourself to use it. This is Inspivox, and you're watching Inspivox Studio. Fuel your mind. Build your future.